Hello students, this is our fifth session of chapter 4 data structure. In this session we are going to study about insertion of an element into an array. Insert an element into an array. So, first let's see what is an insertion. Insertion is nothing but adding an element into an array. Insertion is nothing but adding an element into an array. Insertion refers to adding an element into an array. Consider an array which contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So here the array name is A. A is the name of an array. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are all the indices of an array, or we can call the index of an array. So in this array, the array contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60 as its elements. So if I want to add an element called 30, so this element is called as an item. I want to insert an item called 30 into an array at position 2. So A another array. So array li 10, 20, 40, 50, 60 anta elements ide. So naan ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 30 ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ 2 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So now let's see what are the steps we have to follow while inserting an element into an array. So first step is we have to get the item to be inserted into an array. Get the item to be inserted, say X. Say X. In the second step, we should know at which position we have to insert this item. So get the position at which the item X has to be inserted, say position. In step 3, what we have to do, after collecting the item as well as position, we have to move the items from the asked position to the next higher position. So shift the items from the asked position till the last element. We have to shift the elements or the items from the r's position till the last element to its next higher position. Next higher position. And do this for all the elements from the r's position till the last element of an array. Insert, in the last step, insert the item at the required position. At the required position. So now add this item 30 into this array. So an array A contains 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60 as its elements. So this is before insertion. So before insertion the array will be like this. So I want to add an item called 30 at position 2. For that what we have to do? We have to shift the items to its next higher position. So how to shift the elements? So for the last element till the r's position we have to shift to the next higher positions. 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So this is the next higher position to shift the elements. So I am going to shift 60 to the position 5. 60 to the position 5. In the next phase, we have to shift an item 50 to position 4. 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. See, in this step I have shifted 50 from position 3 to position 4. In the next phase, we have to shift 40 to position 3. So in this step at position 2 is empty now. So in this place I want to insert an item 30. So in the next phase I am going to insert an item 30 at position 2. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is, n is equal to n plus 1. See, before insertion, the size of an array is 4. But after insertion of an element into an array, the array size becomes 5. So this is how we are going to insert an element into an array. Now let's write an algorithm for this. Algorithm. So in this algorithm, insertion of an element into an array A with n elements, I want to insert an item at the required position. So A is an array with n elements, Item is the element, to be inserted at position POS. So these are all the prerequisites to write an algorithm for insertion of an element into an array. So what is the first step? So using the for loop, I am going to shift all the elements to its next higher position. For I is equal to n minus 1 down to position. That is, for I is equal to n minus 1 is nothing but the last position. N minus 1 is the last position. Down to position means till the required position. What we have to do? We have to shift the elements to its next higher position. So A of I plus 1 becomes A of I. So what is this A of I plus 1? So A of I plus 1 is nothing but the next higher position. So for the next higher position, we are shifting the elements of A of ith position. This for loop has to get repeated until we shift all the elements from the last position till the required position. End of for loop. In step 2, after shifting all the elements, so the required position will become empty. So at this position, what we have to do? We have to insert an item. So here I have inserted the item called 30 at position 2. So at position, that is A of position, I have to insert an item 30 is equal to item. So in step 3, after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. Step 4, exit. So in this algorithm, A is an array with n elements and item is the element to be inserted at position POS. So for I is equal to n minus 1 down to position, that is from the last position till the required position, we have to shift the elements to its next higher position. So for the next higher position, what we have to do? We have to shift the elements. That is A of I plus 1 is equal to A of I. So after shifting all the elements, the required position becomes empty. So in that place, we have to insert an item. In step 3, after inserting an item into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1. That is n is equal to n plus 1. So this is the algorithm for insertion of an element into an array. Let's write a C++ program for insertion of an element into an array. So what is the first step while writing the program? We have to include the required header files for our C++ program. The first header file is #include iostream.h. So this header file is used for basic input-output services which is required for C++ programs. So this header file uses objects like scene and cout, which is used for sending data to and from the standard input and output devices. And next header file is #include conio.h. So this header file is used in our program to use the functions like clear screen and getch. And next header file I am going to write is #include iomanip.h. iomanip.h header file is used to manipulate the output in the C++ program like setW function. setW function is used to set the required field width between the elements in the output. Next header file is #include stdlib.h. I am going to use this header file because I am using exit function in our program. So now I am creating a class called insert. Class called insert. So in the private section, I am going to declare the variables which are required for our program. Private int. What are all the variables we require in our program? That is array name. That is A of 10, then position, size of an array, and the element to be inserted. In the public section, I am going to declare the functions which are required in our program. So which are the functions we require? Get data, void get data. Why the return type is void? Because this function is not returning any value. So the return type is void get data function. So get data function is used to accept the required data from the user. Next function is void compute. So void compute. This compute function is used to write the required calculations which is needed for our program. Next is void display function. Display function is used to display the output on the screen. So I am going to close the class using semicolon. Void insert. So I am defining the function outside the class. So I am using this scope resolution operator. So what is the first function? That is get data function. So what are the required information? First we have to accept the size of an array. We have to enter the size of an array. So I want to display it on the display screen. So for that I am using cout statement to display the data on the screen using this insertion operator. Enter the size of an array. Enter the size of an array. Using cin is used to read the data from the standard input device. So this is our extraction operator. So what is the size of the array? The size of the array is n. Next, we have to accept the array elements. Enter the array elements. Using for loop, I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. In the scene, I am going to accept the array elements. So next, enter the element to be inserted. Enter the element to be inserted. Next, what we have to? We have to accept the position at which the element has to get inserted. So cout enter the position at which element has to be inserted. Position. So this is about get data function. Next is compute. So we have to perform the required calculations. So void, the return type is void. What is the class name? The class name is insert. We are defining the function outside the class. That's why we are using scope resolution operator here. Compute function. So this function is referring to the class insert. So if the position is greater than n, if the position is greater than n, then it is an invalid position. We cannot insert an element at that position. We cannot insert an element at that position if the position is greater than n. Cout position is invalid position. If the position is greater than n, we cannot insert an element, so that it has to exit from the program execution. That is, it has to terminate the program execution. For that I am using exit function, exit of 0. So return code 0 exits the program without any error messages. So if this condition is false, then we can shift all the elements from the last position till the required position to its next higher positions. For I is equal to n minus 1, I greater than is equal to position I minus minus. So in the array 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. So we have to shift the elements, that is I is equal to n minus 1 is, that is the last element, that is last position. We have to shift the elements to its next higher position. That is I greater than is equal to position. I greater than is equal to position. Yes, the required position is 2. So I, the value of I is 4. 4 is greater than is equal to 2. For I is equal to n minus 1. N minus 1 is nothing but the last element. That is the last element. I greater than is equal to position. We are checking for the condition. What is the condition? I greater than is equal to position. Yes, the value of I is 4. 4 is greater than position. So at which position we want to insert an item? At position 2 we have to insert an item. Hence the last position is greater than 2. That is I is greater than is equal to, I is greater than is equal to 2. So hence we can shift all the elements from the last position till the required position to its next higher position. That is A of I plus 1 is equal to A of I. So after shifting the first, that is the last element, to its next higher position, I have to shift the next lower position, that is the element 50 to next higher position. For that I have to come to the lower position. For that purpose I have written I minus minus. So after shifting all the elements from the last position till the required position becomes empty. So at that position I have to insert the item, that is A of position is equal to element. A of position is equal to element. So after inserting an element into an array, the size of an array is increased by 1, that is n is equal to n plus 1. So close this function. Next, display, that is void. What is the class name? The class name is insert. What is the function name? That is display function. So in the display function we have to display the array after insertion. So cout after inserting an element into an array, so from first position till the last position I have to display the element, so that for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Cin A of I, set W of. So why we are using set W function here? Set W function is used to set the required field width between the array elements. So now we have to create an object for the class insert. In the main function we have to create an object for the class insert. So how to create an object? First we have to write the class name, then the object name. Insert I. Clear screen function. Next, call all the functions using this object. I dot get data function, I dot compute function, I dot display function. Close this main function. So what is the output for this program? So I dot get data. So get data function is called. So in the get data function, first we are asking the user to enter the size of an array, right? Enter the size of an array. So the size of an array is 5. Next, enter the array elements. Enter the array elements. So what are the array elements? It is 10, 20, 40, 50 and 60. Next. Next is enter the element to be inserted. Enter the element to be inserted. So which element we want to insert? We want to insert an item called 30. Next we have to accept the position to where the element has to be inserted. Enter the position at which element has to be inserted. At which position I want to insert? I want to insert at position 2. So enter 2 here. So this is about getData function. Next I am calling compute function. So in the compute function, it will check whether the position is greater than n or not. Position is not greater than n, so I am going to insert the element at the required position. Then in the display function, I am calling display function here. So now I am going to display the array after insertion. That is, after inserting an element into an array. So the array contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So this is the output for this program. So this is how we are going to insert an element into an array. Thank you.